The big city. GameMasters here, and today we are going to explore big cities and how they're represented in one's tabletop role-playing game. In yours, do they have tall buildings, or is the architecture sprawling for miles with shops and taverns on almost every corner? Now, I may end up jumping back inside at some point. It's a touch on the loud side here. When it comes to large cities in your game, how do you present them? For me, the quintessential big city that I drew inspiration from was Waterdeep from the Forgotten Realms. But what always bothered me was that there were only a handful of populated buildings. There were shops, apothecaries, blacksmiths, taverns, even the seedy alleyways where the stereotypical dark deed or shady deal was made. All the typical places that an adventurer could easily drop a purse of gold, but in between those locations were always lots of just empty buildings. Well, maybe they weren't empty, but they didn't seem to have a designation on the map or in the source books as to what might be included. When I populate a rather large city in my campaign world, I use a pretty nifty tool that was shown to me about a year ago, Volo's Vetted Vendors. And while not every vendor within the book is appropriate for every city, what I've done is made some of them somewhat of a franchise situation. Not run by the same person, mind you, but the wares come from the vendor that's in that particular book. I'll also pull open a map, a real-world map, and zoom into the streets and look at what types of businesses exist, and then I'll go one by one populating my new city with the businesses that are similar. A bakery in the real world becomes a bakery in fantasy world. Next door to that is an Italian restaurant. The fantasy version may be, a tavern that caters to dwarven foods. Then a comic book store, well, that might translate to a magic shop that only deals in scrolls. And of course, there would also be a section of housing. Perhaps the business owners live above their shops. The risk of detailing a city this way, however, is will it detract from your overall adventure? Will there be so much to do that the players could lose sight of what they were supposed to be doing, going after the mighty dragon or searching for that sixth part of the rod of 7 parts? Or will the cityscape itself become the bed that a new adventure wakes up from? What are some city elements that you use in your games? What tools do you have in place to help keep the players on track? Or do you just let the players openly roam the city, letting adventure happen wherever it may happen? Let me know what you do down in the comments, and if you'd like to check out Volo's Vetted Vendors, you can check that video out here. As mentioned, it's a great tool to add pre-made vendors to your city. Again, let me know in the comments how you deal with large cities in your tabletop role-playing game, and until next our paths cross, may you avoid those seedy back alleyways.